Okay everyone, we're going on to tips and piecework today. So first of all, a little bit review. We've been talking about income, right? Different ways of making money. And so far we've talked about three things. Salary, this is where you get a certain amount of money paid per year. Like a teacher, like me, right? Every year I get a certain amount of money, and I know how much I'm going to make at the start of the year. Wages, this is when you get money per hour. You go to work at the gas station, you're getting your 16 bucks an hour, whatever it is. Commission, we did last day. That's where you earn a percent of what you sell. And so today we're going to do two more types of income. And the first one we'll do here is tips. So you've all heard of tips before, as I struggle to highlight it there. There we go. Tips, they're also called gratuities. So I probably don't need to give you the definition because you know what it is, but here you go. It's a sum of money customarily given by a customer. That sounds awkward. Customarily given by a customer. You know what customarily means? It means something done by custom, right? It's a custom in certain countries to give a tip. So it's customarily given by a customer to certain service sector workers, service workers, for the service they have performed in addition to the basic price of the service. I hate this definition. Oh my gosh, all these repeated words and everything. Service is in there 3 times. So basically people who work in the service industry often get extra money paid by the customer if they do a good job. Now, of course, in some countries like Canada, you're almost expected to give the tip even if the person doesn't do a good job, right? Even if you had the worst waiter of all time, when you leave, there's this pretty strong expectation that you're going to give them a tip. But do you have to by law? Are you going to get arrested or something? No, you don't have to. So here's the sort of people that get tips. Servers, like waiters and waitresses. Hairstylists and barbers. Taxi drivers. Doormen, the person opening up the door at the fancy hotel. Yes, they deserve a tip because they opened the door for you. The porters, those are the people who take your bags up to your room or whatever. Again, fancy hotel stuff. Tourist guides. People show you around on the buses and stuff like that. And speaking of buses, tour bus drivers. Not city bus drivers. That'd be pretty cool if you got off the number 23 bus and gave the bus driver a tip. But no, tour bus drivers often get tips as well. Now remember, this is different in different countries. In some countries they do no tips. In some countries it's considered rude to give a tip. In some countries they don't give tips to servers, but they do give it to taxi drivers or something like that. The amount also varies from country to country. Some places 10% is considered a very high tip at a restaurant. In Canada, 10% is considered a bit cheap. Usually the safe percentage in Canada is 15% at restaurants. Again, do you have to pay that? No. You can pay more, you can pay less. You can pay none at all, but 15% is the safe one if you don't want anyone giving you the side eye when you walk up the door. All right, let's do some questions. A hairstylist works a 5-day, 40-hour week and earns $16.25 an hour. She averages $75 a day in tips. Find the hairstylist's gross weekly income. So this hairstylist is making money in 2 ways, isn't she? She's getting her wage, and she's also getting her tips. So we need to figure out how much she makes for both. Okay, the wage. Well, she works 40 hours in a week. You don't really have to worry about the 5 days at this point because it tells you how many hours she works, 40 hours, and she earns $16.25 an hour. Well, if we want to get her total wage then, we better multiply the 40 hours times the $16.25 she makes every single hour, and we get $650. Now, she also gets tips. She gets $75 on average a day. That's not in a week, it's a day. So how many days did she work this week? 5 days. So 5 days, and on average she makes $75 a day. So we better multiply the 5 times the 75 and get $375. Now, what are we going to do? They got the wage, they also got the tips. We need to add those together. And they end up with a pretty nice wage. They get $1,025 for the week. Find the hairstylist's average hourly wage. So this isn't their actual hourly wage. Their actual hourly wage is $16.25 an hour. We already learned that right here. But what it's saying is if they made $1,025 in a 40-hour week, how much on average did they make? We did a question like this last time. Well, if they made $1,025 and that was in 40 hours, we want to know how much they made in 1 hour. We better divide it by 40. And that gives us $25 and 625, but the 2 will round up because of the 5 after it, rounds up to 3. So $25.63. Not bad, not bad at all. Okay, next question. Maria works as a server at Earl's. She makes $15.50 an hour. I'm sorry, I'm just making this all up. My daughter used to work at Earl's. I could probably ask her what the price is and everything, but I'm too lazy. So she makes $15.50 an hour, and she works an 8-hour shift. One day she's asked to work 10 hours due to how busy the restaurant is. So Maria's paid time and a half for overtime, and she makes $140 in tips that day. For that 10-hour day, she makes $140 in tips. How much did she make during the 10-hour shift? Okay, there's actually 3 things we need to consider here. We need to consider her regular pay. We need to consider her overtime pay. By the way, I'm not convinced that you get paid overtime at restaurants like Earl's. Again, I could ask my daughter, but I don't think she's awake yet. It's 9:30. Actually, you know what? I'll try. I'll send her a text right now, and we'll see if she gets back to me by the end of this video. So we've got the overtime pay, and then we also have her tips. Okay, so we got to go through all these. Well, the tips is easy. Look at it. She made $140 tips, so let's get that down. Okay, now, regular pay. So for regular pay, she worked 10 hours total, right? Right here, 10 hours. We did this exact one before, I think. 10 hours. How many of those hours? Oh, whoa. Just got a message back from my daughter. You do get overtime for working over 8 hours. You get, are you ready for this? Time and a half. Come on. Who nailed it? Feeling good about myself here. Okay, sorry, back to the question. Regular pay. So 10 hours total they worked, but that wasn't all regular pay, and it wasn't all overtime pay. 8 hours is her regular shift, and then the extra 2 hours she worked is her overtime. So we got 8 regular, and 2 overtime. 8 regular hours. Now, how much does she get paid for the regular hours? She gets $15.50. So we got to multiply that by $15.50. The 2 overtime, what do we do there? We also multiply by $15.50, but we have to also multiply that by time and a half, 1.5. Okay, so that is what you have to do for the regular and the overtime pay. So first of all, 8 times $15.50, which is 124. And then 2 times $15.50 times 1.5, which is $46.50. And she got all these things, regular pay, overtime pay, and tips. So you got to add them all up. What's a fast way for me to do that? Oh, well, I guess I'll write them all down. 124, $46.50, and 140. $310.50. Okay, I didn't write that very clearly, but $310.50. What was Maria's average hourly wage? Oh, it's that average again. So this is how much she made, the $310.50. And how many hours did she work? She didn't work an 8-hour shift. She actually did work 10 hours. So we got to divide that by 10 and see how much her hourly wage is. And it's pretty decent, isn't it? She actually ended up making $31.05 per hour. Now listen, I have a daughter who works at Cactus Club, and I can tell you she frequently makes well more than $31.05 an hour. Good job, people. Okay, let's move on to piecework. Here's our 5th type of income, piecework. So you might not have heard of this before. It is a type of employment where the worker is paid a fixed rate for each unit produced, regardless of time spent producing the item. So an example of this would be, for example, in agriculture. Maybe someone who's picking plums, for example, and every bucket of plums that they fill, they get $30 or something. Call centers. Maybe every 20 calls they get through to someone, they get a certain amount of money. Trucking. For every kilometer you drive, you get a certain amount of money. Manufacturing. For every tennis racket that's produced, you get a certain amount of money. Freelance writing. For every article you make, you get a certain amount of money. Now, if you're employing people like this, you still need to make sure they're making a minimum wage. You can't pay them piecework and then end up that everyone's ending up paying, getting paid $3 an hour or something. But this can be a viable form of income for some people. Here's an example. A fishing boat gets paid $2.50 per pound of catch. If they have 2,600 lbs, what the heck's that? This lbs, do you know what that is? That's pounds. It's the same. It's a short way of writing pounds, believe it or not. If they have 2,600 pounds of fish in the hold, how much are they paid? So they get $2.50 per pound, and they have 2,600 pounds on the boat that they're taking in to get paid for. You would quite simply do 2,600 pounds. Each pound gives you $2.50. Multiply those together, and you get $6,500. Whoa, that's quite a nice amount of money. But remember, they might have been out there for a couple days catching that stuff. They got all the fuel to pay for the boat. Maybe there's 3 guys on the boat, so it might not be as great as you think, but that's definitely a nice amount of money to start with there. Okay, question number 2. A window cleaner charges the following to clean windows. On the first floor, there's small and large windows, and on the second floor, there's small and large windows. Now, this question makes sense. You're going to charge more for large windows. It's more work. You're going to charge more for windows on the second floor because they're up higher. You got to start dealing with ladders, danger pay, all that kind of stuff. So if it's on the first floor, a small window is $10 and a large window is $20. If it's on the second floor, a small window is $30 and a large window is $40. So how much does the cleaner earn for cleaning a house with 2 small windows and 3 large windows on the first floor, and 3 small windows and 4 large windows on the second floor? Okay, 2 small windows on the first floor. 2 small windows, that's this one right here, isn't it? Small windows, first floor. So those 2 of those, and each one is $10. So he's got $20 for those ones. 3 large windows on the first floor. Here's our large windows on the first floor. There's 3 of them. So 3 of them, each one's $20. You get $60 for those. 3 small windows on the second floor. Small on the second floor is right there. So we've got 3 of them. They're each $30. Gets $90 for that. And 4 large windows on the second floor. So here's our large on the second floor. That's 40. 4 times 40 is 160. We got to add all that together. And if you add that together, you're going to get $330. Okay, not bad. If it was a 10-hour day, they made $33 an hour. But they probably did it faster than 10 hours. Even if they did it 8 hours, 330 divided by 8 is $41.25 an hour. Not bad. Whoa, we should all become window cleaners. Okay, one of the stages in producing ski jackets is installing the zipper. An experienced seamstress needs 20 minutes on average to sew a zipper on a ski jacket and is paid $6.20 per zipper. What is her weekly pay if she has a 35-hour work week? Okay, there's a few different ways of doing this. So every 20 minutes, they put on a zipper and get $6.20. And it says here that they're working 35 hours total. So what do we need to figure out? We need to figure out how many 20 minutes are there in 35 hours. Now, there's different ways you could do that. I think maybe the easiest way to do it is think of it this. 1 hour equals how many zippers? If you can need 20 minutes for 1 zipper, then 2 zippers would be 40 minutes, and 3 zippers would be 60 minutes. Well, wait a minute, 60 minutes is an hour. So in 1 hour, you can do 3 zippers. Okay, well, if you can do 3 zippers in 1 hour, how many zippers can you do in 35 hours? You do 35 hours, 3 zippers every hour, for 105 zippers total in the whole week. So how much do they get paid? Well, remember, it's $6.20 per zipper. So if they had 105 zippers in the whole week, and we multiply that by $6.20, they end up with $651. Okay, last one. The knitter of a Cowichan sweater. You've seen these, right? Kind of a West Coast thing. The knitter of these receives 60% of the retail price. Sweater A takes 26 hours to knit, oh, wow, and sells for $49, wow. And sweater B, I guess there's 2 types, takes 22 hours to knit and sells for $4.29. How much do the knitters receive for each sweater, and how much do they make per hour? Oh gosh, it's a little bit of work here. Okay, let's start with sweater A, and it's sold for $4.89, and the knitter gets 60%. So basically we have to get 60% of $4.89. So remember percents, I didn't do this last class. I could have when we did our commission, because we did percents. You could have done your commission this way as well. I'm going to remind you of this. Remember our thing where we had our percent over 100 equals part over whole? Let's do that for this question, just to remind you of it. So which number can you always put down when you have that? You can put down this. We're making a proportion. You can always put down that 100 because percent means out of 100. The next thing to look for is the percent. Do you know the percent in this question? Yeah, we're going to take 60% of something. What are we taking 60% of? Of the 489. Is 49 the part of the amount or the whole amount? That's the whole amount. So 49 goes down here. And this is what we want to know. We want to know the part. I'm going to put an n there for unknown. Remember how to solve this? It's a proportion, so we can cross multiply. We multiply these two together, and then we divide by the one that's left over. So we're going to go 60 times 49, and then divide it by 100. And you get $293.40. So this is how much the knitter receives for doing sweater A. But the other thing we want to know is, how much did they make per hour? Well, how long did it take them? It took them 26 hours. So if they made $293.40, but they took 26 hours, and we want to know how much they made in 1 hour, we better divide by 26. We end up with 11.28. This is dangerously close to minimum wage, isn't it? In fact, it's below. I believe minimum wage is now $12.65. So we have a problem here. The employer is going to have to do a better job than that. I'll contact Better Business Bureau right after I make this video. Alright, that's sweater A. Let's go on to sweater B and finish this off. So again, we need to find 60%, but this time we're doing it of 429. So let's set up our proportion. What can you always write down? 100. What's the percent? 60% again. This 429 is the whole, so it goes on the bottom. I'll call it M this time. How do you do that? Cross multiply. Multiply the 60 and the 429 and divide by 100, which equals 257.40. So that's how much the knitter took home. And we want to know what their hourly wage is. So again, we take the 257.40. And how long did it take this knitter? It took them 22 hours. So we're going to divide by 22. Come on, don't tell me they're not making minimum wage either. 11.70. This just isn't good enough. Anyway, I guess this question's a little dated. I got it from a book that was made not too long ago. I hate to see people getting underpaid like that, and I will definitely change the question in future years. It's offensive for people getting underpaid on my math videos. Okay, everyone, I hope this all makes sense. Let me know if you need help, and take care.